everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we're going to take a look at the latest version of Manjaro, version 0.8.11, running the 64-bit here, and this is their Xfce version, which is their flagship version. On the outside, you can see we've got some new theming going on here, and we've got some new icons. But we've got more going on than just a little window dressing. They've made some other improvements, and really liking what I'm seeing here. Well, let's go and pull up. Here's the Manjaro blog about the release. With this release, we focused our efforts bringing more attention to common core requirements of Manjaro's broad user base. Xfce version remains flagship offering. Most of the components are Xfce version 4.11. And if you don't know how the Xfce version numbers run, and a lot of desktop environments run the same way, your even numbers will be your completed stable releases, and your uneven will be the development series that's moving on to the next digit. So in this case, there was version 4.10, 4.12 is in the works, and so the 4.11 series is the stuff that has been released of the 4.12 series, and it's out there. Some of it may not be ready for mainstream use, but it's out there so that it can be tested. You can get community feedback, all that kind of stuff. That being said, Xfce development is fairly slow. I think that we've been on the 410 series for over 2 years now, so there's been plenty of time as they're moving towards the 412 series. There's been plenty of time for the Manjaro team to get these 411 packages, test them out, make sure that everything's working, that sort of thing. So, it's not that they're giving us unstable packages here. It's just that the applications that they're giving us that are in the 411 series are stuff that is stable and is working correctly. So scrolling on down here, the default kernel is the 3.16 series, but for those of you that have been working with Manjaro in the past, it is so easy to change to a different kernel. Probably of any distribution, it is the easiest to change the kernel. I mean, they got real nice graphical switcher, and 5 minutes and you've got it changed, which is a whole lot nicer than, say, Ubuntu, where it's a series of commands from the command line, and make sure that you do it right or you're really going to screw up your system. Here it's simply select which kernel you want to use, and boom, you're ready to go. And there's reasons for going with the latest kernel, and there's also reasons for going with an older kernel. So with having an easy way to swap those kernels around, they're appealing to a large variety of users. Oh, what we got here, it talks a little bit about the settings manager. They made some improvements there. Graphical package manager tools have received some more updates, especially Octopi. Earlier versions of Octopi were kind of glitchy in it, but I think they worked out some of the issues there. Same thing with Pac-Man. It's running real well. And this is a cool feature. Steam is now provided with 2 launchers of choice, one for the native system libraries and one for using the Steam compatibility libraries. Once again, trying to cover all bases. That about covers the stuff that they're talking about here on the blog. So I'm going to close that up, and let's take a look around this distribution here. Well, one of the first things that jumps out to you, if you're used to the older versions of Manjaro, is the new look. Now, the wallpaper I'm running here is one of we've seen this wallpaper or something very similar in previous versions, and no complaints about it. It's a nice looking wallpaper, but you notice the window borders are different. We've got some new button or layout for the for your window buttons there. It's a dark theme, and once again we've got different icons. It's a round, flat style, I guess is what they're calling them these days. And you can see as I'm scrolling through here the various icons that we've got now. And the looks, it's one of those things where beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I realize not everybody is going to like the theming. Not everybody's going to like that style of icon, but it does give it a new, fresh look. As in previous versions, we have this real nice welcome screen that gives you some quick links for documentation, the wiki, the support forums, chat rooms, mailing list, how to get involved with Manjaro. So that's always been a plus with the Manjaro distributions, is that you got those quick links. They're trying to be very user friendly. When I get to the end of the video, though, I'll tell you about some not quite so user-friendly stuff that I ran into. Hopefully it's stuff that gets worked out in the mix a little bit later on, but they're really, I guess you can consider them minor gripes for for all the good stuff that we got here. So let me run through real quick the applications that we've got, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on most of our old standbys, because we've seen them in tons and tons of distributions before, and I don't want to keep repeating myself all the time. But let's just take a look at what we got here in our accessories. We've still got the Catfish file launcher. Got a real nice bulk renaming tool right here for bulk renaming files. Where was I? Clipman for a clipboard manager, and if you do well, really, there's all kinds of different scenarios where I could see where that clipboard manager is very effective for it. If you're doing a lot of cutting and pasting in documents and that sort of thing, this is an invaluable tool. Because basically, without a clipboard manager, let's say you copy, you paste, and then you copy something else and you paste it. Let's say you want to go back to that first copy thing that you copied. Well, without a clipboard manager, you got to go and find it and copy it again and paste. This way, you can just go and select, oh yeah, I want to recopy such and such piece of text, or whatever it is that we're working with. Boom, ready to go. Big time saver. Got our archive manager, and we've got a calculator there. And this is a nice calculator. If you haven't looked at it, it's not just your basic addition, subtraction. I mean, you got a few more advanced functions there, square root, and I believe, yeah, you can switch it into scientific mode and paper mode there. So pretty nice calculator. All right, and where was I? Okay, we got a menu editor here, which I believe is Menu Libre. Yep, Menu Libre. Very nice for tweaking your menu. Actually, I'm thinking of I might go and do a tutorial on using Menu Libre, because there's lots of options there, and you can really customize your menus. But a lot of people don't know how to utilize that tool. Okay, mouse pads for our text editor. It's basic, but for most people it gets the job done. Quick notepad, screenshot tool, sensor view, shows you a little bit of data on your system. task manager, still using Thunar for our file manager, Xfburn for our CD DVD burning. A few Qt applications for doing a little development. Education course, I believe we have the entire LibreOffice suite. Let me go down to Office, and yeah, it looks like we got the entire LibreOffice suite. And then right here under games, they just got the Steam listed. Graphics, looks like we got the GIMP and ViewNor for our image viewer. Internet, still using Firefox, which no problem there. You know, it's one of the internet browser thing seems to be, you know, an even split on people between you know, Firefox versus Chrome/Chromium, with a few people that are using something else. But it seems like a majority of people either like Firefox or the Chromium based browsers. HexChat, Pigeon Internet Messenger, of course Steam's listed again in here, and then Thunderbird for our mail. And then all of our multimedia here, an audio mix here. I've never been able to pronounce this one, Guayquil, or like I said, I've never been able to pronounce it, but it is a nice music player. That I can tell you. I've played around with this in the past, and while Clementine is my favorite music player, this one, very nice music player. I may go and do a review of this because it's more time than we can allow in this overview. But real nice player, allows you to do some streaming, pull down radio channels, all kinds of stuff. So real nice music player there. Where was I? Okay. GUVC video view, that's what I added for my screencasting, as well as simple screen recorder, which is down here. There's our audio controls with Pulse Audio, VLC for our movie/media player, and Xfburn listed again there. LibreOffice suite and Orange Calendar for your desktop calendar. That's kind of Orange Calendar, kind of standard for Xfce based distributions. Same thing with the Orange Global Time for managing clocks, and then our document viewer down here. And then here comes the fun stuff, the settings. We've got our appearance here. So Menda is the name of the new theming. Of course, you can see we've got all kinds of other ones listed here. Got the SETI, Clear Looks, Industrial, you know, all kinds of good stuff there. And you see they give you a pretty big variety of theming there. So you know, something for everybody, I guess you can say. Icons, the Menda circle is what we're looking at here now. Menda square, let's go pull this up. So you got a square look there. You can go with the standard Gnome, or even Vanza has always been one of my favorites. But you know, once again, it's one of those things, like I said before, that you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Play with your fonts here, and then settings for your icons and whatnot. Close that up there. And then from here we can go, we've got our Bluetooth manager, change our desktop settings, which is, you know, not only our wallpapers, and once again, pretty big variety of wallpapers. Not a huge, but a fairly decent selection there. Our menus, what do we want to show, what do we not want to show, and the same thing with icons. You know, as for me, the way that I work is I don't like icons on my desktop, period. Nothing. So that's typically how I set it up. But that's not how it comes by default. And you know, everybody's different. I know a lot of people that like having the icons on the desktop to launch from there. To me, I like a clean desktop. I'm pretty much a keyboard launcher kind of person. Where were we? Okay, configuring display. Here's one. Let me go and pull this up. And you can see I run two monitors. This one right here that says Hewlett Packard, that's my main monitor, what you're actually viewing on the video. And then I've got a secondary monitor that when I'm doing the videos, I've got, you know, the controls for my webcam viewer, the screen recorder, that sort of thing running over there. So you know, while it's running, you don't actually see it. But anyway, you can see right here you got this option for mirror displays. Well, when I first set up this distribution, it was mirroring, if that's a word, the displays, but the box was not checked. And I was playing around with it for a while. Could not get it to stop with you know, having mirrored displays. What I ended up doing is unselected mirror displays. Unselected, use this output, applied those, which shifted everything over to my other screen, and then from that point I did the identify displays. It identified both displays, and I was able to set them up, you know, side by side like I wanted to. Deselected the mirror displays, and finally was able to get it to work out right. So maybe it's just like a small bug, or you know, maybe it just doesn't like to play well with my system. But anyway, it was, you know, one of the few glitches that I ran into. Not a big deal, but you know, in the effort, or in the quest for, you know, full disclosure, wanted to let everybody know what I ran into, the good and the bad. Anyway, let's see where we're at here. Setting up firewall, where are we at? And then various settings for keyboard, like the greeter. Here's our main Manjaro settings manager. And let me go and close this up here. Alright, so we can change our language from here, go and tweak around with the user accounts. Right now it's just me, but you could go and add other accounts from this spot. Time and date, notifications, and then here's what I was talking about earlier with the kernel. Double click on there, you can see by default, and I haven't changed this, is the 316.7.2, that particular kernel. Now if you would like to go back to a LTS kernel, 314.25, you could go with that, or even farther back to the 312 series. Or if you want to use the latest, you know, one of the latest kernels, 317.4, I mean 318 just came out, so I don't know that I would particularly trust that one yet, but you know, 317.4, that's pretty recent. And yeah, the downside to going with some of these newer kernels is that you may run into software that will not play nice with the newer kernels just because of how new that kernel is. Just for example, you know, I recently added a graphics card to my system. It's NVIDIA system, or a NVIDIA card from a couple years ago, so I was able to pick it up used on eBay for like $30. And you know, granted, it's not the best video card out there, but at the same time, when you had no video card before, it's a big upgrade. But anyway, so I went to go and download the proprietary NVIDIA driver, well, the newest kernel series that it will play nice with is the 316 series. The 317 and 318 are not compatible with it, and you'll run into that sort of thing with other proprietary drivers and whatnot. So while I tend to like to get the latest and greatest kernel and really any software, there are times when you've got to say, okay, from a practical standpoint, I can't use that new kernel yet. And not saying that's good, bad, or whatever, but that's sometimes something you just got to deal with. And there's other reasons why you might want an older or newer kernel, but suffice to say, it's really nice having this little tool here so you can easily install and choose what kernel you want to go with. And I think that about covers all the stuff here. If you want to do some hardware detection, just double click there and it'll show you all of the proprietary drivers for different stuff that you got running. Okay, so and down here at the very bottom on the settings where we can go and tweak our panel, and this is pretty standard Xfce stuff. And if you've never gone and made changes to your panel, I've actually got a how-to video in my I'll throw a link up on here. I don't remember off the top of my head what I titled it. It was something like tweaking panels or setting up panels or something like that. But I'll go and I'll look it up and throw a link on here. If you're not familiar with how to set up panels, it's actually really easy to work with. And Xfce is going to be the same as far as setting up the panels go. Xfce is the same whether you're running Manjaro, Ubuntu, Debian, whatever. Okay, here's our software management. And so, I mean, this works real easy. If you're used to, say, a Ubuntu-based distribution and you've worked with Synaptic Package Manager, it's basically the same idea. So you could just tell it what you want to search for. Like, let's say we want to look for stuff in the Gnome desktop. Just click Enter, and it's going to find stuff that have either Gnome in the name or the description. That's probably not a good example because that word is used a lot, but let's say there's a specific piece of software we're looking for, like let's say the Kingsoft Office Suite. And there it is. And you can see right here, search in the AUR, that is switched on by default. You can turn that off. And if you're not familiar with AUR, it stands for Arch User Repository. Basically, these are community repositories. So if somebody goes and they download a tarball and set up a particular package so that such and such piece of software can be used, they put it out on the AUR and then everybody can use it. So it saves a lot of time so that the people in the community can help one another with you don't have to go and compile every piece of software that isn't in the Manjaro repositories. So and like I said earlier, not only is this a nice piece of software, but they've done a lot of work recently so that it's less glitchy, less buggy. Everything seems to work. Really happy about that. Okay, so played with that, and deconf editor for buku settings, let you go and tweak all kinds of settings on all your various applications. Gparted for playing around with your disk partitions. Printer manager, if you want to go and pull up that Manjaro welcome again, you can. Print settings, A lot of this is repeats from earlier. Software updater, and this is something that they finally worked out some of the bugs. The software updater used to be pretty buggy, but what I have seen so far running updates, everything in the updater is working great now. Simply click it, and you see right there, boom, your system is up to date. If you want to refresh, say like you had just added some, some software or whatever, need to check it, or because I think this is set so that when you first boot up your system, it's going to check for you to see if you got any updates. Yeah, you've got enabled AUR support, remove unrequired dependencies, turn it off. There you go. It checks every 4 hours for you. But that's the way it's set by default. You can go and change that to whatever you like. But you can just refresh it, check again, and you can see nothing new comes up. So one little issue that I kind of ran into, I don't know if you want to call it a problem, but it's something that I just want to bring up, and I don't know, maybe makes this a little less new user friendly, and that is burning your ISO for installing this distribution. Now, in previous versions, I would go and download the ISO, and I would burn it to a USB via, there was several different, graphical installers that would do it for you. Win32 installer was one that I used in Windows, and the OpenSUSE installer would work also, and there were a variety of tools. Well, on this latest version, it seems like none of them worked. And finally, I got a little help from the Google Plus community on the Manjaro forum, and the overwhelming consensus was to burn via DD, and that is command line. So that's where I was saying maybe this makes it a little less new user friendly. Now, there is documentation in the Manjaro wiki for burning that method, and really it's not that difficult to do. But I know a lot of people are especially new users, are going to be a bit timid of using the terminal. But I made myself a little note, and I'll pull it up just so you can see what you need to do to burn this. Basically, you're going to put this line into your terminal, and right here at the end, the SDJ, that was where my USB stick was located. Now yours might be located at SDB, SDC, who knows what letter, but you want to put that in here at the end. And you don't want to give it a partition number, so don't say SDJ1 or anything like that. Just the SDJ, SGB, SDB, whatever yours is your USB is listed as. And then right here, you just put the path to the ISO, including the name of the ISO file. So mine was at home/alex/downloads/ and then there's the name of the file. So you put that into your terminal, hit enter, and wait maybe a minute, and boom, it's done. It's very quick, much faster than any of the graphical installers that I've used in the past. So I think even for non-Manjaro distributions, I think that's going to be my default method for installing onto USBs from this point on. Let me close this up here. And that basically was it on the glitches and problems that I ran into. Like I said, that one's not necessarily a glitch. It's just, something that you've got to be aware of when doing the installation. And then there was the little graphical issue. With setting up my monitors. That really wasn't that big of a deal. Other than that, I have had no problems with this distribution. No crashes, no, bad video, audio, no problems at all. So, I mean, two thumbs up to the Manjaro team for what they have done on making this such a solid and stable distribution. And of course, if you're already running Manjaro, just update and you're going to get all this good stuff. And I think that about finishes up this review. Yeah, I think it does. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big old thumbs up. And be sure to subscribe if you are not a current subscriber to my videos. And keep your eye out for all the new reviews and such that I will have coming out. As always, leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below, and I will try to answer them and comment to them whenever possible. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.